Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to another class of SQL. In this class, we are going to see that how to create this update trigger by using delete and insert. So, in the previous class, that is triggers part 3, there again I had discussed about a problem where I was trying to update the orders table, and the orders table was getting successfully updated with regards to the placed orders in terms of number of quantities, but the automatic action of the stock availability, that is component availability, that should have happened on the components underscore available table, that was not happening, that didn't happen. And in this class, we shall try to solve the problem that we had discussed in our previous class. Okay, so if you have not checked out that video, please do check out that video because these trigger classes are highly interlinked to each other. Like in the triggers part 1, I had discussed about insert trigger. In the part 2, I had discussed about delete trigger. In the part 3, I discussed the problem, and that we are going to apply this update trigger by using delete and insert. And in this class, we are going to see the practical application of the update trigger. So go to line number 1 and basically execute this, that is use class 2, our database, and hit the execute button. Now come down. Now how to create the update trigger. We know already how to create trigger. We have seen our previous 3 classes of triggers in both part 1, part 2 as well as part 3 of triggers. There is how to create trigger. And let us see. In part 3, we just discussed about the problem. We didn't discuss about how to create trigger. But how to create trigger, we have seen in the trigger part 1 and trigger part 2. So as usual, give this command, that is use these keywords create trigger, then give some name to the trigger. I have here used the name as my underscore trig2. You can give whatever name you like. Then in the next line, on which table? Components underscore order table. Then in the next line, for keyword you have to use. And after that, for which event? For which event? It is the update event that we are trying to execute this trigger. On which table? On components underscore order table, we are trying to create this trigger with respect to the update event. So that's what I've written here. Update event on the components underscore order table. Okay, so this update event we are trying to now apply on the components underscore order table, and we shall use the my underscore trig2 for this, that is for the update trigger. Then in the next line, line number 41, give this keyword as. Then in the next line, give this keyword begin. And after begin, I usually give this end keyword. And then between these two keywords, begin and end, we'll have to write our main code. That is main query and code. Okay. So what is the code that I'm giving here? Focus on line number 43. Declare at the rate prev underscore qtty as int. So this is a variable that I'm declaring, which is an integer kind of variable. And at the rate prev underscore qtty, it means previous quantity. Okay. Then in the next line, declare at the rate fresh underscore qtty as int. So this will be our second variable, fresh quantity. Okay, that is also of integer data type. Then in the next line, set at the rate prev underscore qtty, that is previous quantity, is equals to, then within the brackets, what I'm writing within the brackets, select comp underscore odd underscore qtty from deleted. Okay, so this comp underscore odd underscore qtty is the component order quantity. How many number of quantities of a particular product have been ordered, and that will be taken from this deleted table, which we have not created, and neither we will explicitly create it, but we know how to inherently do this stuff. Then in the next line, set at the rate fresh underscore qtty, that is fresh quantity, is equals to, within the brackets, select comp underscore odd underscore qtty from inserted. So this component order quantity, that is comp underscore odd underscore qtty, will be taken from the inserted table. So in this way, prev underscore qtty will be initialized, and this fresh underscore qtdy, this variable will also be initialized. Okay, let us see how. Now see, inside the trigger, the event that I'm writing here is update event. Okay, and as I told you previously that in case of update trigger, we will have to use the delete and insert. How to do that? If you check at line number 51, insert into components underscore order values r hashes 2, then c hashes 2 comma 30. So this entire row will be inserted into this components underscore order table, and this will be my second row. This was the kind of record that I was trying to insert in our previous class, but it was not successful. That is, got inserted into the orders table, but the components underscore available table couldn't get updated. Now, in this scenario, what will happen that inside the trigger, as soon as I mention that the event is update, and after that the trigger has been created, that is, you'll have to select this entire trigger from lines 38 to till 49, and after that you will execute. So the trigger will be created and executed and will be ready to use. And here inside the trigger, I have mentioned that the event is update. So after that, if I write some sort of insert query, then that will inherently create the deleted table. SQL will inherently treat this as your deleted table. Okay. So insert into components underscore order values r hashes 2 c hashes 2 comma 30. We already know the fields of components underscore order. R hashes 2, it will be inserted under the comp underscore ord underscore id field of the components underscore order table. C hashes 2 will be inserted under the comp underscore id field of the components underscore order table, and 30 will be inserted under the comp underscore ord underscore qtdy, that is component order quantity, for this components underscore order table. So this entire row will be inserted into this components underscore order table. And so what we are trying to mention, we are trying to order 30 quantities of refrigerators. If you remember from our previous classes, C hashes 2 identifies which kind of product. Now the product is your refrigerator. So how many quantities of refrigerators are being ordered here? 30 quantities of refrigerators are being ordered here. And as soon as inside the trigger you mention this update event, and then you come outside and you have created and executed the trigger, which will be then ready to use. After that, if you mention this kind of insert query and into this components underscore order table, then inherently this will be treated as your deleted table also. This will be treated as your deleted table also, which will have the same fields as that of components underscore order, and it will have these values r hashes 2 c hashes 2 comma 30. So what was the command given here? The command given here was that if you look at line number 45, select at the rate prev underscore qtdy is equals to select comp underscore ord underscore qtdy from deleted. And we know this 30 is the value of comp underscore ord underscore qtty. Okay, so select comp underscore ord underscore qtty from deleted. So deleted table will also have this field comp underscore ord underscore qtty, under which the value will be 30. The value under comp underscore ord underscore qtdy will be 30, not only inside the components underscore order table but also inside the deleted table inherently. So from deleted means from basically here, this 30 will be taken and placed. Okay, so select comp underscore ord underscore qtdy from deleted. What will happen? 30 will be selected, that is, it is the value under comp underscore ord underscore qtdy of deleted table. So from deleted table, the value of 30 will be taken and placed here. So ultimately this entire thing will display what value? This entire thing will display the value of 30. Okay, and then Then after this, if I write the update query, if I write this update query, then what I'm writing here, update components underscore order set comp underscore ord underscore qtty is equals to 60. So now, in our previous class, I had discussed that when this order of 30 was placed, it was happening by mistake. But this needs to be updated. This order needs to be updated from 30 to 60. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Update the components underscore order table. Set, you have to set what? The order quantity. You have to set it to 60 because 30 was placed by mistake. So set comp underscore ord underscore qtty is equals to 60, where comp underscore id is equals to c hash hash 2. So this comp underscore id field of the components underscore order table will be located. Under that, c hash hash 2 will be identified, and against that we have the value of comp underscore ord underscore qtty, which will be updated to 60. Okay. So again, inside the trigger, I have mentioned that the event is update. And after that, I have placed here the insert query into the components underscore order table, which will be treated as your deleted table, from where the comp underscore ord underscore quantity, that is the value of 30, will be taken. So 30 value will be taken from deleted table and placed here. So at the rate prev underscore qtty will be your 30. And what will happen to this at the rate fresh underscore qtty? This is also is equals to select comp underscore ord underscore qtty from inserted. So in case of SQL triggers, when I write this update query, then this will be inherently treated as your inserted table. And this inserted table will have the same fields and values as that of your components underscore order table. Okay, so since I have mentioned inside that trigger that the event is your update event, so after that, in order to create the in order to ultimately form the update trigger, you will have to write the insert query, which will be treated inherently internally as your deleted table, and then you'll have to write your update query. This was your insert query. This was your insert query that will be internally treated as your deleted table, and then after that you will have to write the update query, which will be internally and inherently treated as the inserted table. So inserted table will have the same fields as that of components underscore order and the same values as that of components underscore order. So comp underscore ord underscore qtty is now updated from 30 to 60. That's what will be reflected inside this table components underscore order. And internally for this inserted table also, under the comp underscore ord underscore qtty, the value will be 60. Okay, because the inserted table will also have the same fields and values as that of components underscore order. So what will happen here? Select comp underscore ord underscore qtty from inserted. Now in the inserted table, the comp underscore ord underscore qtty value is what? 60. So basically 60 will be taken. The value of 60 for comp underscore ord underscore qtty will be taken from the inserted table and will be basically placed here. Okay, for this. So ultimately, this entire thing will give what value? This entire thing will give the value of 60, and from deleted also we are getting the comp underscore ord underscore qtty value, which is nothing but your 30 coming from the deleted table for this comp underscore ord underscore qtty. Hence it is 30 here. So previous quantity is 30, fresh quantity is 60. In the next line, now ultimately what we are doing here is that in the components underscore order table, we first place the order of 30 by mistake, then we are updating the order from 30 to 60, and automatically the components underscore available table should also be updated, where its stock quantity should be updated. Stock quantity is reflected by which field? Comp underscore avail field of this components underscore available table. Okay, so that's what I'm writing here. Update, this will be the ultimate action that I'm trying to perform on the components underscore available table, which we were not able to do in the previous class because we had not created the update trigger. Okay, But now we have created the update trigger. Now there should be no problem. So update this table, components underscore available table, set comp underscore avail is equals to comp underscore avail plus at the rate prev underscore qtty, that is previous quantity. What is the value? 30 minus at the rate fresh underscore qtty, that is fresh quantity. What is the value for that? 60. Where comp underscore id, so this comp underscore id is with respect to the components underscore available table, and a value for this has to be assigned. How this value will be assigned? Now is equals to, then you will have to give these single brackets inside this. You will have to write this, that is select comp underscore id from deleted. Okay. Now, what is the here? This deleted table has the same fields as that of components underscore order and the same values as that of components underscore order. That is with respect to this row. Okay, only this row I'm talking about. So C hash hash 2 is the comp underscore id, which is not only the field under the components underscore order table, but also a field under this deleted table. And what is the value of comp underscore id under the deleted table? It is C hash hash 2. Because I told you these tables I created are just for the session. Okay. So this deleted table will just have these record of components underscore order. Okay. So what will happen under the deleted table? You have the comp underscore id column, which, and this column is also available under the components underscore order table, and the value is C hash hash 2. The comp underscore id value is C hash hash 2 under the components underscore order table as well as for deleted table. So this C hash hash 2 identifier, the C hash hash 2 comp underscore id value will be taken here, coming from which table? Coming from the deleted table. Okay, that is with respect to this one. Okay, so ultimately this will generate what? This will generate C hash hash 2. So what will happen? Components underscore available table, it will be updated where comp underscore id is equals to C hash hash 2. So C hash hash 2 of the C hash hash 2 under the comp underscore id field of the components underscore available table will be located, and in that same row of C hash hash 2 you will have the comp underscore avail value under the components underscore available table. Okay, so that value will be basically picked up. That this we have previously seen also, but here there is a certain twist. What is the twist? That is basically, if we select these things like components underscore available table, you select and execute components underscore order, also you select and execute, then you see basically for this C hash hash 2, how many number of C hash hash 2 was reflecting what? Refrigerator product. comp underscore avail means how many components are available. That means how many quantities of refrigerators are there in the stock. 90 refrigerators are available in the stock. Okay. Now, initially when this trigger will be created and executed, that is this update trigger for my underscore trig 2, when it will be created and executed, and after that we are using this insert query, and after that we are using this update query, automatically this will be treated as your deleted table and this one will be treated as your inserted table. But also if you remember, insert into components underscore order, it this will trigger the insert trigger also. This insert into components underscore trigger, it will work not only for this update event of this trigger, but this will also work for the insert event. This will also work as the insert event for the insert trigger. If you remember, here we had created our insert trigger, this my underscore trig. This my underscore trig was the insert trigger for the insert event on the components underscore order table. So after that, whenever we are placing the insert query into the components underscore order table, then this my underscore trig will also be executed. Okay, so please remember that when this insert query will be executed, then not only this particular trigger, that is my underscore trig to, not only this will be triggered for update event, but also this my underscore trigger will be also updated for components underscore order table. Okay, for the insert event. Now, what was happening here? Whenever we were placing some sort of order into this components underscore order table, then what was happening? The ordered quantity was getting subtracted from the stock quantity, and we had created this trigger first. My underscore trig was created first. Okay, so whenever this insert query will be selected and executed, then at first this my underscore trigger will be executed, where the stock quantity, it will be updated. What will be? It will be equals to the stock quantity, which is your comp underscore avel, minus the order quantity. Okay, so if you look here, initially this comp underscore avel, ultimately this comp underscore avel value will be taken from this components underscore available table only, because this field is available under this table only. And how the value is selected? The value is selected on the basis of this field value, comp underscore id value, which is c hash hash 2. And this comp underscore id value will be basically located from this components underscore available table only. So this comp underscore avel value will be selected with respect to the row of this identifier c hash hash 2, and that is for refrigerators. And what is the quantity? 90. Okay. Now, as soon as this insert query is selected and executed, then and there at first my underscore trigger will be executed for the insert event. Okay, for the insert event. So this particular order, that is this entire row, will be inserted into the components underscore order table, and the ordered quantity will be 30. And my underscore trig, ultimately what is the action that it does? It updates the components underscore available table, where the ordered quantity will be subtracted from the stock quantity. So the ordered quantity is how much? 30. So 90 minus 30 is equals to what? It is equals to 60. So ultimately here the comp underscore avel value will be here 60, thanks to the my underscore trigger, which is used for ultimately updating the components underscore available table, where the ordered quantity gets subtracted from the stock quantity. Okay, so initially the stock quantity was 90, minus the ordered quantity is 30. So 90 minus 30 is equals to 60. That's what will be the value of comp underscore avel. Okay, then at the rate prev underscore qtty value will be added here. What is that value? 30. Okay, minus at the rate fresh underscore qtty value will be placed here. What is that value? It is 60. So 60, isn't it? At the rate fresh underscore qtty, if you look here at line number 46, at the rate fresh underscore qtty value is what? 60. So this 60 will be placed here, and before that you have a subtraction sign. So before 60 you have subtraction. Before that here you have 30. 30 is for what? At the rate prev underscore qtty, which is basically coming from here, at the rate prev underscore qtty, which is equals to 30. And we already see this 60 is the updated value of comp underscore avel due to the my underscore trigger, which is used for the insert event on the components underscore order table, where ultimately the action is to update the components underscore available table, where the stock quantity, that is comp underscore avel value, will be updated. Okay, so what will happen here ultimately equals to now 60 plus 30 minus 60. What will be the value? It will be 30. Because what we are doing here, initially by mistake we had placed the order of 30, but 30 additional quantities of refrigerators are to be ordered, which will be ordered ultimately. That means 30 additional quantities of refrigerators will be taken out from the stock of the shop. Okay, so we had previously seen our video that in spite of updating this order quantity to 60, still the stock quantity left inside this components underscore available table was still 60. It was not becoming 30, but now it should become 30, because if you remember, initially when the ordered quantity is placed as 30 by mistake, then the 30 quantities are taken out. So 90 minus 30 was 60, but the update requirement on the components underscore order table was that the 30 was ordered by mistake, and actually 30 additional, that is total 60 quantities of refrigerators are ordered. So that means 30 additional quantities of refrigerators are ordered. So that means 30 already 30 were taken out. So 90 minus 30 was 60. Additional 30 more quantities of refrigerators will be sold out from the stock of the shop. So 60 minus 30 is equals to 30. That means 30 quantities of refrigerators should be now left under the stock of the shop. That is the COMP underscore avail, which represents components availability, which represents the stock quantity. That should be 30 for the refrigerator product. Okay. That's what should happen. Let us check. So select lines 38 to 49 and hit the execute button. Commands completed successfully. Now give this inserted command, hit the execute button, then give this update, this insert query we selected and then executed. Then this update query also you'll have to select and execute. Okay. Some mistake has happened, I think. Yeah. So this will be like this. Yeah. Now let us check whether it has happened or not. Select, select all these we are checking once. Okay, select asterisk from components, though we didn't make any update or changes to the components, not required. It is for the catalog only. So select asterisk from components, select asterisk from components underscore available, select asterisk from components underscore order. C hash hash 2 is mainly for the refrigerator. Okay, now you see the first output is with respect to the components table. This is mainly the catalog price and all. C hash hash 2 is for the refrigerator. Okay, and the second output is nothing for this. Is the second output reflects this components underscore available table, where you have this COMP underscore ID C hash hash 2, which is nothing but your refrigerator, and this COMP underscore avail value. What is it? It is 30. So in our previous video, we saw that this COMP underscore avail value was still 60. It was still 60 for this particular product C hash hash 2. But in this particular class, we have successfully been able to update the stock quantity of refrigerators for the particular shop. Okay. Now, yes, the number of refrigerators left in the stock of the shop is now 30. 30 quantities of refrigerators are now available in the shop. Okay, 30 quantities of refrigerators are now available in the stock of the shop, which previously was not happening. Okay, and this is the third table, that is with respect to this query. Okay, already this first row was placed, this first row was inserted, that is the first order was already placed, which we have seen in the trigger part 1 class, and this second order has also been successfully placed inside the orders table, and ultimately your COMP underscore avail, that is stock quantity field for the refrigerators, is getting perfectly executed. Okay, that's what I've written here. COMP underscore avail plus @prev underscore qtdy minus @fresh underscore qtdy is equals to inside this bracket. This is for the COMP underscore avail, where you have 90 quantities of refrigerators minus 30 quantities of refrigerators which were ordered. So ultimately, how many quantities of refrigerators will be available in the stock? 60. Okay, then plus this 30 was coming for this @prev underscore qtdy, that is previous quantity, minus this 60, it was basically coming for this @fresh underscore qtdy, which was nothing but your 60. So 60 plus 30 is 30 minus 60. So 60 plus 30 is your 90. 90 minus 60 is equals to 30. So ultimately the value of COMP underscore avail will be your 30. For which product? For C hash hash 2, that is for refrigerators. Okay. So we have concluded with our SQL course, and if you have liked this video also, you can kindly hit the like, share, and subscribe button and press the bell icon for notifications, because I will be coming up with other fresh playlists related to data science and data analytics. And I would also like to conclude that, like before we wrap up, I want to highlight that all the tables, values, and problems like EMP2 underscore 2, EMP underscore INC, and there were several other tables and their values and associated problems that we had basically worked on during this course are all hypothetical. However, they have been carefully designed to align closely with the kinds of scenarios and challenges that you're likely going to encounter in the interviews and real world industry situations. The goal has been, to give you a practical and applicable understanding of SQL, equipping you with skills to solve the problems efficiently. So I encourage you to revisit these exercises and experiment further to strengthen your foundation. So we shall be meeting again in the next class, and thank you.